Hey everyone, how are we doing today? This is James Sweeney, aka SplitSuit, and welcome back to another video. And as part of the Ask SplitSuit a Question series, a couple people did ask hand history questions, and this one actually came privately via email, and it comes from Emmanuel, and Emmanuel says, "Hi James, I was at a final table, a $50 buy-in tournament with 3,000 plus one $880 seat guaranteed the other day, and I saw this happen. Please help me understand the thought process behind this fold." Okay, so in this hand, it's a $500 ante, 3,000, 6,000 blinds. Hero opens from early position with eights, gets a call from the button, call from the small blind, who is described as a very wild fish. Big blind folds, go three-way to it. And in this situation, the small blind shoves for roughly 55,000. Hero decides to call and ends up getting shoved on by the button, and Hero decides to fold. Okay, so let's actually back up a couple of ticks. Let's go back here when we were facing the shove from the small blind. So in this situation, I can be on board with Hero's call. I'm getting 2-1 at the point that we're facing the shove. It's okay. I'm assuming the button, who is described as a tag opponent, is going to be someone who's not going to have a tremendous amount of King X or super nutted stuff in this situation. He's probably going to fold things like 10s and actually even better hands than our 8s if we do decide to call here, which I'm obviously happy about. So overall, I'm definitely okay calling this getting 2-1 against the small blind, who is described as a wild fish. Against a tighter opponent or something like that, I'm definitely not going to be as on board with this. But in this exact situation, I can be okay with the call. But Emmanuel's question was really more about facing the shove from the button after we do call. And this is kind of a sick situation. We're getting roughly 6.5 to 1. We don't need to be good very often in order to make this call, but is this going to be very profitable for us in the long run? Now, Emmanuel says, if I was in Hero's position after calling the 55k, I'm always calling the extra 40,000 with such good odds. Is this a good fold, or should Hero have called that even if he was unsure where he was against the button? The issue in this situation is that the button is probably rarely, if ever, bluffing, which means that his shoving range here probably becomes sets, King X, and decent draws. And the issue is that any realistic draw here is going to have at least one overcard, if not two, which means he's going to have a really, really solid chunk of equity against us. And as you start throwing things like sets or King X in there, we're really reduced down to very, very, very few outs. So the problem is that we need 13% equity to call to break even here, but it's not really that great. I mean, if you look at this against a pretty strong range, it's roughly break even. And remember, we want to make profitable calls, not break even calls. And in a one life to live mentality, something that you get in tournaments, I'd say that taking a break even for your life probably is nowhere close to worthwhile. So in my opinion, this is actually a good fold by Hero. I don't really expect to be able to show profit by calling the extra 40,000. Even though, yes, we are getting a very good price, I still don't expect to win this anywhere near enough of the time to justify making that call. So in this exact situation, the button did end up having a set, not too shocking. He can definitely have that, or again, King X or big draws, all those things make sense. And then the small blind ends up binking his draw, which must be nice. So overall, I do think the Hero played the hand pretty well, assuming, of course, that the flop call against the small blind was good. Really depends on how wild and fishy the small blind has been, if I even like the call of the 55,000. But other than that, the rest of the hand after facing the shove from the button certainly looked good. So Emmanuel, thanks for the great hand, and if you or anyone else has a poker-related question, feel free to leave it on our Google Plus page. I'll leave a link for that in the description box. And also, please make sure to like and subscribe if you're enjoying this type of video. So same as always, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to let me know. Otherwise, good luck out there and happy grinding.